Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I'm Sean Butler, joined with my man Henry Wright from Henry Wright TV. Tottenham Hotspur have just beaten Crystal Palace 2-1 at Selhurst Park, and we are top of the league, 5 points clear before any other team has a chance to kick a football. Pressure is all on them now. Henry, how are you, mate, first and foremost?
I am absolutely magnificent, mate. We're 5 points clear. Tough game overall. We made it a little bit harder than it should have been, but Son on the score sheet, another 3 points, another couple of goals, best goal difference in the league, most points, best start I think we've had to a Premier League season ever. And we're doing all of this with new players, a new manager, a new style of football, and without Harry Kane. So if you can't see what Levy and Postecoglou are doing, mate, you can F off down the Emirates.
Mate, let's just get straight into it. Look, if you are watching this, you will have seen, or you may have seen the post-match fan show, and Henry Wright's obviously his post-match show as well, or the post-match fan cam. So I want to take a different tune on this. I want to get straight into individual performances, and I want to start with Captain Fantastic, Sonny. 8 goals in 10 games. Moving into the number 9 role for him, which he's played a lot in his past, but he's obviously not traditionally in that role. Look, how fantastic has his season been? But more importantly, the performance tonight, what did you make of it?
The performance tonight and against Fulham weren't his best performances, but he's doing it what a striker should do. You know, if you don't have 38, if you have, I don't know, 15 bad performances, but in those bad performances, you should still score 15 goals. Goals win your games. Games get you points. Points win you trophies. And tonight, and against Fulham, he put the ball in the back of the net twice. It's his best start to a Premier League season individually. He's the second highest goal scorer in the league. I don't think there's a standout player other than I think you could say Romero, Højbjerg. If you're looking at as a collectively as a full 90 minutes, I don't think there's a player that can come out of that pitch and say, do you know what? I was magnificent. Vicario was very good. Romero is very good. But the rest, there was a bit like 30 minutes good there, 20 minutes good there. Heung-min Son, though, I don't think his performance was all that. But the finish, he's in the right place at the right time. It's another goal. You know, that's 8 goals in 10, mate. That is an unbelievable return. We're talking about a player now that's in his 30s, that's playing. He's been a left winger. He's moved down the middle. He's taken to the position like a duck to water. He's taken the armband. He's stepped up. And yet again today, he's put the ball in the back of the net, mate. We should be giving this guy a pat on the back, mate. I didn't think it was his best performance, but he put the ball in the back of the net, and that's all we can ask for.
I thought he tried really hard. I thought in the first half, he was trying to make runs. I thought occasionally they were found, but I think that most of the problems, and I'd say the same, his positional play for the goal was spectacular. There was an opportunity in the first half when Maddison found his way down the left-hand side and didn't quite get the opportunity to whip it in centrally quickly enough. I personally think that Sonny was limited in his abilities tonight a little bit by what was going on in the build-up to the play. I thought he was making the right runs and trying everything he could. Moving back a little bit.
Wasn't it? At one point, we were playing like a 2-5-3.
Yeah. Yeah, or 2-3-5 as well. Like we were throwing people forward, Ben Davies and Pedro Porro being found in all sorts of areas of the pitch. I can't wait to look at their heat map, their detailed heat maps tomorrow. But what I do want to ask you is the overriding frustration for me in the game, mate, is that even though we won the game, we scored 2 goals, we only had 1 shot on target. And I want to kind of ask you, why was that? Was that down to Crystal Palace, or was it down to just a little bit of sloppiness with the final delivery? Was Tottenham responsible for the lack of chances that were created during the game? Yeah. What happened?
I think it's a bit of both. I mean, Palace defensively are a very good defensive side. I mean, before today in the Newcastle game, they only conceded 7 in their first 8 games. They've had injuries, but they've got a very well-gelled machine in terms of their defense. Mitchell is a good player. Gahey and Anderson are very good. They just frustrated us. They made it extremely hard. They stuck to their game plan. With us, though, it's a little bit worrying. It's a lack of creativity. It's taken Maddison to fire the ball into a dangerous area for us to get a goal. Now, the law of averages, if you keep doing something, eventually it's going to happen. And we kept knocking on the door, and eventually we got in. We got in. But for me, the final ball today in the first half, especially the first kind of 48, 49 minutes, the final ball wasn't great at all.
Right.
I mean, for the first half, for instance, Maddison could have played a pass outside of his boot. Son's screaming, play me, play me, play me. And he doesn't. Sar's pass for Son in the second half, where he's running through on goal, the pass was absolutely horrendous. When Højbjerg did a lovely ball through to him. The final ball at certain points in the game wasn't good enough. And is that... I don't know what that's down to. Is that just down to bad decision choice, bad choices, bad decisions? Probably. I don't think it's a bad. You can't say bad form because every player's firing on all cylinders, and we're not exactly fatigued because we're not playing every 3 or 4 days. I just think the decision making of players like Richarlison today. I mean, I don't know what this guy. I mean, he's pony. So many times he should pass, and he tries to take a player, and then he gets tackled. And when he does pass, it goes nowhere near the player's feet. It ends up going off for a throw. I think the decision making of the players in certain areas of that game, in certain points, was not good enough.
Do you think, sticking with the forward line, because I want to get the kind of negatives out before I get to the positives in the second half of this. Kulusevski and Richarlison, both players that offer similar attributes in terms of like what you're going to, if you say what's the best parts about Kulu or Richarlison, you're probably going to talk about strength, ability to hold the ball up, that's physical side of their game, versus you're not necessarily going to offer the same natural first compliments, at least to players like Brian Hill or Brennan Johnson. Do you think that maybe, I personally think that Ange Postecoglou was spectacular with his substitution choices today, but I've got to be honest, I feel like that front three now has had its chance to demonstrate what it can do from the first minute. And I feel like when you have two players that are not willing to take players on down to the byline in Richarlison and Kulu, then at least one of them needs to be changed for the next game. And when you look at the performances of Brennan Johnson and Brian Hill later when he came on, but specifically Brennan, do you think now that it's
Kulu
time
did get
to
down
see
to the byline a couple of times, and when he did, we actually scored.
Yeah. That's the thing about Kulusevski, is that when he doesn't trust himself to get to the byline, but every time I've seen him do it, it's always generally resulted in some sort of output, a corner kick or a decent cross across. But I don't share the same sentiment for Richarlison. So I'm wondering what you want to see going forward. Do you think it's time now that we've got Brian Hill and Brennan Johnson fully fit? Is it time to see something different in the front three?
Yeah, I mean, Richarlison went off, and then immediately as flipping Johnson come on, we scored a goal, and he's got that desire to keep going and keep going. He chases the ball down. I don't think I think other than aerial ability, that is the only thing Richarlison offers our front three. If you look at every player across our front three, including Perisic and Solomon, they all offer more than he does. All of them, collectively. All of them offer more. They're all technically better. They're far superior in practically every trait and characteristic and ability, other than the fact that he's got this physicality and he's got this animal in him and his heading ability. Brennan Johnson, for me, is a different... If you look at him against Arsenal, he was probably our best attacker on the pitch at one point. He was chasing the ball down. You can't allow him to run in behind. Otherwise, he will practically beat every single defender in Europe in a race. Yeah. And not only that, he's got a first touch.
Yeah,
he can control a ball. Richarlison today, it's like he's walking around with a bowling ball on his foot and everything's just bouncing off. I mean, it's
100%.
It's so frustrating.
Yeah. Moving back a little bit in the team, let's get to the midfield where obviously most things start, most opportunities start. I want to kind of hear your takes on Maddison, Bissouma, and Sarr, and leave a little space at the end there for Højbjerg, because I want to know what your thoughts are on Højbjerg, because we've got a big decision to make around Højbjerg in January. He might want to move on, but if we can convince him to stay with the performances that he's put in recently, I feel like maybe he offers more value than a lot of people have previously asserted. But start with the starting three: Maddison, Sarr, and Bissouma. What were your thoughts on those guys?
Maddison, obviously, he's part of the reason we scored a goal. Fires it into a dangerous area, we get the goal. Didn't think it was his best performance, but when it mattered, just like at Luton, he created the goal. and he is by far our best creative player, and probably technically him and Basuma are the best players at the football club, and he's shown his quality today with that one piece of magic. The rest of the performance, I didn't think was too great. At times, could have played the ball into Son or Kulu and didn't. There was one time where he was trying to chop and turn the defender, and Richarlison's standing in the way, and I'm like, mate, you're also marking Maddison. Get out of the way, like help the guy.
He wasn't even looking. He wasn't even looking. He was looking. He was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna stand here." Like it's a Sunday stroll.
It's mind blowing how bad a footballer can be at times. When I look at Sarr, I thought 70% of the world is covered by water. The rest is covered by Sarr. He's absolutely everywhere. The one thing he's got to work on is his final ball, getting a shot on target. The amount of times he's blasted one over this season, or he's played a ball and it's bounced off. But the defensive work, he is a pit bull. He's absolutely everywhere. Basuma today, I thought Basuma was a bit slow on the ball first half. It was the right thing to sub him off. Is he 100% fully fit? I don't know. There was question marks there. He didn't.
Or maybe he was trying to protect himself from getting a yellow card. You don't know whether that was playing in his mind. Didn't want to get the fifth yellow again.
Yeah, and I'd rather have him going against Chelsea. Would rather have him in the squad for Chelsea, right? So I'd rather us spray on Højbjerg, and actually we've still got a player there. I didn't think Basuma was that great today. Did some nice bits. We started to flow towards the end of the first half and then the beginning of the second half, but it was the right decision to bring on Højbjerg. I thought Postecoglou with every single substitution today was spot on. Every single one.
The timing of them and the choices.
The choices, the timing, in the right time of the game is so important. Bringing on Royale, he was great today. Put a ball in the back post to Brendan Johnson. I don't know what he's doing there, how he doesn't make contact with that. But every single substitution today, I thought Postecoglou got bang on the money, mate.
What about Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, mate? I thought he came on and was absolutely brilliant. I thought he was spectacular, passing the ball around, zipping the ball. A lot of, myself included, I say this all the time. I just feel like one of the weaknesses when you compare him to Basuma is the mobility and the willingness to zip and pop the passes around. When you're playing against teams with a low block, you have to find a way to create space, and that usually starts and finishes with the willingness to expand the pace of the play. I don't usually ascribe Højbjerg to have that side to his game, but I thought he was absolutely wonderful with the ball at his foot today, and I thought he got back and defended well when needed as well.
Yeah, Zinedine Salzburg today and against Fulham and Luton and Arsenal when he's come on, fair play, because I am now questioning, do we get rid of this guy in December/January? Do we start looking?
I think it's a conversation we have to have. Whether or not he wants to be playing second fiddle. Rightly so. He thinks of himself as a player that should be playing for a top team. I love that confidence about him.
But right now, I would be more inclined to be playing Højbjerg, Sarr, and Maddison against Chelsea
over Basuma.
Yeah, because we conceded a lot of the ball that first half. I know the possession stats say 71%, but Palace were first to everything. Chelsea.
Basuma was sloppy in the first 30 minutes for sure. He didn't seem to be involved or paying attention. I don't know whether he was tired or something else, or whether it was just the fact that he didn't want to get too stuck in early doors because he didn't want to give away the yellow card and miss the Chelsea.
That's the thing. Højbjerg comes on and kind of he's like a coach's dream. He comes on and manages things for you. I think when you look at Enzo, Lavia, and Caicedo, there's energy everywhere. Yes, Basuma can match them quality for quality, but they haven't really got, apart from Gallagher, they haven't really got anyone in there that can do the job like Højbjerg, and I think he'll sweep up. I honestly, man, I'm really sitting here thinking,
yeah, maybe we should keep him. Maybe we've got the midfielder that we need, and we shouldn't necessarily.
We've just now got the right coach who can get that out of him.
Yeah. To wrap it up, mate, a couple more questions for you. One is just quickly about the defense. Sensational today from the back two in the end. I'd rather you focus on Porro and Ben Davies and latterly Emerson Royale. How did you think Porro and Ben Davies started the game in the kind of inversion?
Well, Porro is definitely the better defender at inverting. He's done it more, and I think technically he's just a better player. But I didn't think Porro was too bad. Couple of bad passes first half. Collectively, much better second half. It's really started to do like one touch, pass and move. Ben Davies, I would be more inclined to bringing in a left back and maybe having Davies as a backup centre back. Then again, I don't think Davies can.
He hasn't got the pace.
I don't see a role in this team for Davies.
Mm.
And I like Davies. He's a steady Eddie. But I look at it and think, one ball over the top, all four of our players, Udogie, Van der Ven, Romero, and Van der Viking, have got unbelievable pace and can get back. Davies doesn't. And they kept targeting that area. I don't think he was that great today, I'll be honest.
I didn't either. I agree.
He was kind of playing like a central midfielder half the time. And I'm thinking, mate, like, come on, like, you're not a central midfielder. Like, if you're going to invert, go to a back three, move Bissouma and Porro as kind of like advanced central midfielders and have Sarr sitting as a lone six. But when at one point we had two defenders, as in Van der Ven and Romero, and then we had a wide five, the fullbacks kind of in the middle. It was so congested. It was like being on the M25 in rush hour. And that's why we couldn't break it down, because our players, there was no space at all. Unless you're coming out of La Masia, the best academy in the world, Barcelona, and you can, take the ball down from 100 meters and spin on a sixpence and then play a 70-yard pass. That we're not built that way yet. That's why it was so congested. If we made the pitch wider, which is what we should have done, created space in behind for the likes of Son, Johnson, Richarlison, whoever it may be, we would have scored a lot more goals. But the fullbacks today, I don't think they were at their best. The centre-backs, however, that for me is the best centre-back pairing in the league right now.
Statistically, it is. And I think, once again, it just shows that if you're going to play this system, you need to have pace. So if we are going to go and buy another centre-back in January, tier one of the priority lists in the attributes has to be pace, recovery pace, and the ability to...
Well, Tosin Adarabioyo's got that. He's fairly quick.
Yeah, 100%. Mate, we're going to wrap it up. Obviously, I know you're going to just tell me how great Vicario was quickly, but I also want you to tell me what's going to come in the next 3 weeks. On the back of this game, we weren't at our best. We got it done. Going into Chelsea, should we be full of confidence? Or
yeah, absolutely.
Is there, as a fan, is there reasons to be a little bit kind of cautious and you know?
No, I don't think there's to be cautious. Chelsea will come at us. We're not playing a low block. Playing a low blocks, we go in and think, everyone thought about, maybe chucking on some money for a probability outcome of a certain football match. Everyone thought about doing that, but I don't. Chelsea, I'm not. I think the toughest game we've got coming in the next 3 or 4 weeks is going to be Villa, because they can stink it out and counter us. And they can counter us with pace like Diaby, Leon Bailey, and Watkins. Chelsea don't have that much firepower yet.
Correct.
But what they do have is technical players. And that's why I think they'll try to go toe-to-toe with us. Now, we've proved we can go toe-to-toe with the big boys. We've beaten Man United. We've beaten Liverpool. We've gone toe-to-toe with Arsenal. But I think we should be full of confidence, mate. It's the best start to the season we've ever had. And we're 5 points clear of the league.
And I think there's going to be a couple of... I think there's a chance that there's a couple of banana skins this weekend where one or two of those teams that are beneath us that are trying to chase us, they might end up biting their own tail a little bit. Time will tell. We're going to do a Shameless Football catch-up on Monday. Guys, I apologize. The Shameless Football video was recorded for today, but I screwed up on that one. Henry, we're going to get straight back now to do the post-match fan show. But before I let you go, mate, thank you for coming on. Where can people find you, buddy?
Just at Henry Wright TV. I'm basically... Sean and I are part of the furniture for each other's channels. We're doing a lot more content. You see Sean on my channel a lot. But yeah, just at Henry Wright TV. If anyone wants to subscribe, that'd be greatly appreciated. And yeah, get over to Shameless and subscribe there as well. Like Sean said, if he didn't corrupt a certain file, we would have had we nearly got our score prediction bang on. We both went 2-0, didn't we?
Yeah, and we'll see what happens. But on Monday, you're going to see the weekly roundup of the football on Shameless. Guys, we're going to leave it there. If you're watching this later on, then smash the like, smash the subscribe on both channels and Shameless. I put it in the title as well. And as always, guys, come on, you Spurs, top of the league, having a laugh.